Leviticus 3 describes the fellowship offering, also known as the peace offering. In this offering, individuals would bring animals from their herds or flocks to present before the Lord. The animals had to be without defects. The person offering the animal would lay their hand on its head, symbolizing identification and substitution. The animal would then be slaughtered, and the priests would sprinkle the blood on the sides of the altar. The fat and certain internal organs were burned as a food offering, creating a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The rest of the meat would be shared between the offerer and the priests. The fellowship offering, while no longer practiced in the same way, holds some valuable applications for today's life. 1. Gratitude and worship. The fellowship offering was a way for individuals to express gratitude and worship to God. Today we can apply this principle by offering thanksgiving and praise to God regularly. Our prayers, songs, and actions can reflect a heart of worship and appreciation for God's goodness. Surrender and identification. The laying of hands on the animal symbolized identification and surrender. In our lives, we can identify with Christ by surrendering our lives to Him. We are called to deny ourselves, take up our cross, and follow Him. The cross of Christ. The fellowship offering foreshadowed the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. Today, we can find ultimate peace and reconciliation with God through Christ's sacrifice. His blood was shed for the forgiveness of sins, and His life was offered as a pleasing aroma to God on our behalf. Community and sharing. The fellowship offering involved sharing a meal with the priests and others. In our modern context, we can apply this by fostering a sense of community within the church. Sharing meals and fellowship with other believers promotes unity and strengthens relationships. Living sacrifice. While animal sacrifices are no longer necessary, we are called to present ourselves as living sacrifices to God. Romans 12:1. Our daily lives, actions, and choices should be offered to God as an act of worship and service. In summary, Leviticus 3 illustrates the fellowship offering as a way of expressing gratitude, identifying with Christ, and finding peace with God. While the specific practices of animal sacrifices are no longer observed, the underlying principles can be applied in our lives through worship, surrender, community, and living sacrificially for God's glory. Thank you for walking through the Bible with us today. May the Lord bless you and keep you until we meet again in the next chapter. I'm your servant in the Lord's vineyard, Evangelist Thomas.